to you, but there's one person that I want to recognize. Because I was thinking about Lloyd Doggett when I knew I was coming here today. My dad, in 1982, was elected as the different universe in this state. For those of you old enough to remember, we had people in these positions of public trust and high office who were actually working for those they purported to serve and represent. And there was a Labor Day breakfast just like this one in El Paso County in 1984, 2 years after my dad was elected. I've got this picture of him. He's no longer with us. He passed away over 20 years ago. But I've got this picture of him that I cherish. And he's up at the dais, just like I am here today with you. And sitting to his right is Ann Richards, yet to be the greatest governor in the state of Texas. She's sitting with me. And to his left is Lloyd Doggett. And I make this point because it's not just that Lloyd Doggett was in El Paso, Texas in 1984, celebrating working men and women in that community and across the state of Texas as he was running an incredible, fierce, statewide campaign. It's that I actually had the honor to serve with this guy for 6 years in the United States Congress. Day in, day out, for my money and for yours, there is no one in that institution who is working harder for working women and working men in the state of Texas and across the United States of America. The victories that we will win were fought for, were worked for, will be gained, and the credit is due to people like Lloyd Doggett, who've been in the trenches every year since that picture was taken in 1984. So you have my congratulations for the work that you're doing, the work that you're doing going forward with great new colleagues that I think I saw a great big star back here. In the Congress right now. Thank you very much for your service. Listen, what a difference a week makes. Last week, I was in the hospital here in San Antonio. I was at Methodist, got knocked on my ass by an infection in my bloodstream. It was God's way of saying, hold on a second. The people at Methodist Hospital, the custodial staff, the nurses, the doctors, the whole team, absolutely extraordinary. I remember I was there for 3 nights. I remember being woken up every 3 hours. Those of you who stay overnight in the hospital with a condition like this know what this is like. They got to check your vitals. Want to make sure that the temperature's okay. They put the reader on your finger to check your oxygen. They weigh you. They put the cuff on your arm and check your blood pressure. The guy who was doing this, a young man named Jesse. And I noticed that he had a tag on his lanyard that said he was a veteran. I served for 6 years in the House Veterans Affairs Committee. I wanted to know this guy's story. I wanted to hear how our work is doing here in San Antonio, what his experience has been like, how we're going to do a better job helping him. Told me that because of his service to our country, he's one of the fewer than 1% who voluntarily enlisted following the attacks on 9/11. Because of the injuries he sustained in service to this country, he was placed in a medically induced coma for months. The guy ultimately survived, of course, but was so taken aback by the caregivers who literally brought him back to life. He says, that's what I want to do. And he's working this night shift, waking up people like me at 3 a.m. to check our vitals, to then go home at the end of that shift, to catch a little bit of sleep, to then study because he's trying to earn his undergraduate degree on his road to becoming a medical doctor. He's got a vision. He's got purpose, he's got function in his life. He wants to make sure that even though he's served beyond the capacity of most of us here in this room, that he can continue to serve this community in another role. And that guy reminded me of the first time I was here in this community over the course of the campaign. In fact, it was the first day of this campaign. The very first event that we held was hosted by John and the Communication Workers of America at their hall right here in San Antonio. And we wanted to use the occasion to thank the healthcare workers who had literally put their lives on the line for all of us. They brought us through 2 years of a pandemic that have claimed nearly 100,000 lives in the state of Texas never complaining, never deferring, always going in and ensuring that we could come through, doing their level best, and far too many of them consumed by the very sickness that we were fighting. Too many of them lost their lives in the process. That very first day of this campaign, to ask you to put me in that position, the highest in the land, to deliver for the people of Texas, we wanted to begin by thanking those who make this possible. So, meeting Jesse last week in that hospital room brought us full circle, and also reminded me sometimes, and those who are in elected positions understand this feeling, you can be tempted to think as a candidate that the campaign might be about you, or that it's on your shoulders, or that through your effort alone that you will deliver victory, or produce the outcome that we're all looking for. Being in that hospital room for 3 days, spending some more time at home in El Paso, Texas recovering, reminded me that this campaign is not about a candidate, it's not about a political party, it's not about a single person. It's about all of us across the great state of Texas who know that we deserve change and something better for ourselves, for one another, and are willing to do the work to bring it home. That's what I see across Texas today. 83,000 volunteers who are part of this effort. While I was in that hospital bed, knocking on doors in San Antonio, in Lockhart, Texas, in Del Rio, in El Paso, across the 254 counties of this state. And I'm telling you, because of those who are here today, because of that great work that we're doing across the state of Texas, I want to share with you this news that has come to my attention. We are going to win this election on the night of gross domestic product was not built by Greg Abbott or the Republican Party or any party for that matter. It was built by the working women and men of the state of Texas. And we're going to have our backs. And we're going to win because we are running against the worst governor in the United States of America. You know what's going to choose for a moment? But in this case, we could not have asked for a better contrast. Let me lay it down by the numbers. 11 days ago, Greg Abbott's trigger law, completely banning abortion with no exception for rape and no exception for incest, went into effect in this great state. A state that leads the developed world in the rate of maternal mortality 3 times as deadly for black women in the state of Texas as it is for white women in the state of Texas. Women who fear becoming pregnant, ectopic pregnancies, complicated pregnancies, pregnancies that might require the kind of medical attention that doctors no longer feel comfortable giving. Those with privilege being able to leave the state and seek attention, help, and health care somewhere else. Those that are now left to suffer without any defense, any advocate, or any person in power right now in the great state of Texas able to help them out. It has been 15 weeks since 19 children and their 2 extraordinary classroom teachers were taken from us. Those kids defenseless, not just against an 18-year-old with an AR-15 and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, but defenseless against the governor who would not lift a finger after 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history have occurred in this state in just the last 5 years. 15 weeks and my 3 kids, and your children and grandchildren as well, have started the next school year, and not a single thing has changed in the state of Texas. to make it less likely that they will endure the same fate and future as those children in Uvalde? There's an answer to that. It starts with winning this election, and it continues until we have raised the age of purchase for an AR-15 from 18 to 21. That we pass that law so we can intervene before it's too late, and we have a universal background check to ensure that those who purchase these firearms are not a danger to themselves, or to any of us, or to our kids, because those children do not get a vote or a voice in this election, but through us. They're counting on us today. They are our conscience, and we cannot be found wanting. It's been 18 months since the temperature dropped here in San Antonio, and the person in the highest position of power could not keep the power flowing to the people that he is supposed to serve. Not for minutes, not for hours, but for days. The lights didn't come on. The heat would not on. The water would not flow because it was frozen in the pipes in your homes. And then when it was unfrozen, your pipes burst, ruining the floorboards, your drywall, mold running up to your ceiling. I know it because I was here, I went into your homes, and I saw that with you. 700 of our fellow Texans lost their lives because of Greg Abbott. An 11-year-old boy froze to death in his bed in Conroe, Texas. His mother unable to pile enough blankets atop his shivering body. A 75-year-old Vietnam-era veteran who could no longer charge his oxygen tank in his home because of Greg Abbott. Took it out to charge it in his truck when they found him dead of hypothermia. Mayor Ron Lerner has called out the crime that was committed. Those 5 days while you were freezing in your homes. Pipeline companies, their CEOs, energy traders made $11 billion in illegal profits. Greg Abbott pegged the price of electricity at its maximum allowable rate. Gas started to trade at 200 times the going rate. Utilities went into bankruptcy, took billions of dollars in debt. The mayor has called this the largest transfer of wealth in Texas history. And you and I, the ratepayer, were left holding the bag. Your rates have gone up on average $45 a month per ratepayer. You add that a $20 billion increase in your property taxes thanks to Greg Abbott, and you see that he's the single greatest driver of inflation in the state of Texas today. Well, there's an answer to that as well. Not only do we win this election, we weatherize the grid. We connect ERCOT to the national grid so we can draw down power when we need it. And those who stole the $11 billion from us, we take them to court with our new Attorney General, Rochelle Garza, and we return to the ratepayer. And the last number I want to give you is 7.5 years. Greg Abbott has been in office. Every problem that has been brought to his attention, he's either ignored or he has made it worse. You recently read this story about the fact that law enforcement in Uvalde, going back years, begged the chief of DPS, Steve McCraw, and Governor Greg Abbott personally to make sure that they have the radio so that they can communicate in the chance that they have an incident like the one that they had in Uvalde at the end of this last school year. Those law enforcement who were inside that building could not hear the messages relayed from 911 or other emergency responders who were outside. Now that doesn't justify the inaction or the loss of life in that classroom on the other side of an unlocked door for 70 minutes. But it tells you that though the governor was warned repeatedly year after year, he was unwilling to do a single thing to help that community or prevent that tragedy. The same holds true for Child Protective Services. 32,000 foster kids in the state of Texas, in the worst run agency in the United States of America, 100 of them have lost their lives since the year of our Lord 2020. Hundreds more tragic for their bodies, pornographic pictures taken of them. And that facility in Bastrop has been privatized under Greg Abbott. He's been warned year after year after year, and the problem has gotten worse and worse and worse. Whether it's school shootings, or these radios in the valley, or CPS, or the warnings about the grid, I don't think that Greg Abbott wants us to die in our homes, or our kids to be shot in the face in their classrooms. I just think that he's unable or unwilling to make the changes necessary to ensure that we can save those lives that are depending on us now at this moment of truth. So let me say this. The greatest challenge we face is not Greg Abbott. It's not the more than $100 million that he's going to raise from billionaires like Kelsey Warren, whose company made $2.4 billion over the course of that tragedy. It's not the fact that it's been 32 years since we last elected a pro-labor Democrat to this office. It happened to have been the best we've ever had, Ann Richardson. The challenge that we face right now is one that you and I, and heroes of mine like Lloyd Dog, have been working on ceaselessly, especially over the course of these last 2 years, and that is the attack on the right to vote in the state of Texas. It is now harder to cast a ballot or register to vote and get on the rolls in this state than any other in the union today. And we know that this is targeted not at every single Texan, but some more than others. When 750 polling places have been shut down in the state, twice the number of the next closest state, and you look at where those closures are, they're in the fastest growing black and brown neighborhoods in the state of Texas. When you can use your license to carry a firearm to prove who you are at the polling places, but you dare not use your student ID from UTSA to do the same, we know who is supposed to and who is not supposed to vote in the state of Texas. When we have a gerrymander, Lord Doc knows something about gerrymanders. When we have a gerrymander that a 3-judge federal panel, 2 of them appointed by Republican presidents, calls a racial gerrymander, because there's a good chance that if you're black or brown, you've been drawn out of a district to minimize the impact and power and likelihood of your vote. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand what we're up against right now. But the answer to that is us. There is no Department of Justice that's going to ride to our rescue, though I wish they would. No Supreme Court that's on our side or even believes in the Constitution anymore. This one is going to be on the people of Texas. And let me tell you, the answer is right here in Bexar County. There are 353,000 eligible voters who did not cast a ballot in 2020. 353,000 eligible voters in Bexar County who did not cast a ballot. 116,000 new voters. These are new citizens, young people who just turned 18, have been added to the rolls since then. To put that number in perspective, we only lost to Ted Cruz by 216,000 votes in 2018. So in other words, if we will get together, if we will get on those doors of the very voters who've been targeted for suppression and intimidation, together, you and I will make them the margin of victory when we win this election on the night of November 8th. Are you all with me on this? Are you ready? you. I'd like for all the political office holders